Hey kid, you wanna go fast? You wanna be real comfortable too? You wanna be a NASCAR driver? Well, I got what you need right here. It's got 2 doors and it's named after an administrative area of Principality of Monaco in the south of France. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Chevy Monte Carlo. Sometimes you're just too tired to do the job. Whether that's hosting a show, writing a script, or washing your car. But thanks to NOS Energy, I got that good energy that helps me get the job done. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. It was the mid-60s and Chevy was doing well. With 12 different models for sale like the Camaro, Impala, and Malibu, it seemed like them bow tie boys and girls had it all. But the grass ain't always greener. Sometimes it has big yellow spots where your dog's been doing its business. Chevy had a problem, and that problem was named the Ford Thunderbird. Ford's luxury 2-door had been selling well enough since the mid-50s to force GM brands like Pontiac and Buick to respond with cars like the Grand Prix and the Riviera. GM brass was stoked, but back at Chevy, it was another story. Chevy general manager Pete Estes, remember him from the Camaro episode? He's literally nuts. He was pissed off. If Pontiac and Buick were allowed to have personal luxury cars, why shouldn't Chevy? Chevy division sales manager Lee Mays didn't agree. He was like, no means no, Estes. Jesus! Literally walking out the door. I gotta get to a freaking recital, don't you know? So there wouldn't be a Chevy competitor to the Thunderbird. Not for a few more years. Then it was 1968. John Z. DeLorean, you ever heard of him, was now the general manager at Chevy. He was hot off his success at Pontiac, where he made the Grand Prix a worthy Thunderbird competitor and helped start the muscle car wars with the legendary GTO. DeLorean was a marketing freaking genius who knew that making young people like your brand was the key to success. Kind of like how the Champion brand used to be for your Uncle Jeff, but now Ryan Turk wears them. They sell for 75 bucks at Urban Outfitters. I bought 4. Turk's cool. So in walked John DeLorean with that BDE. And he didn't get along with Lee Mays either. DeLorean goes to the top GM brass and says that Mays is straight up getting in the way of DeLorean's success. Mays was reassigned to Buick general manager shortly after. Now that he was out, no more Mays, no more problems. That's how you gotta be, man. If someone's in the way of where you gotta be, get him out of there. That's the Kentucky Cobra way. With Mays gone, the Chevy team got to work on their new personal luxury vehicle, codenamed Concourse. Here's how it's spelled, and that's how I'm gonna say it. The car was based off of GM's G-body platform, coincidentally the same as Pontiac Grand Prix. To make sure buyers knew that Chevy's new personal luxury vehicle was luxurious, the Concourse team took inspiration from another one of GM's luxury cars, the 1967 Cadillac Eldorado. And when I say inspiration, I mean they basically traced the design and changed a few things like the headlights. Cadillac was like, what the heck, bro? But the Concourse team kept working. They were like, don't even freaking worry about it, dude. They dressed up the recycled bits so people wouldn't feel bad about dropping more coin on what was basically a dressed up Chevelle wearing a Cadillac fur coat. Before the Concourse, again, how it's spelled and how I say it, went on sale, they gave it a new name. What better name for a big body coupe built in Detroit than that of a principality at the base of the Maritime Alps, nestled in the south of France? In 1970, General Motors debuted the all-new Chevy Monte Carlo. The buzz was undeniable. Car and drivers said it's a composite of Buick, Oldsmobile, and Cadillac. That's what I call high praise. Along with the base Monte Carlo, Chevy also made a performance model with the SS badge. The main difference between the base and the SS was the engine. The SS was equipped with a 7.4 liter 454 V8, making 360 horsepower. To help this beefy boy get around turns, the SS was outfitted with wider tires to get the power down and heavy-duty self-leveling suspension. To critics, the Monte Carlo might have been an odd mishmash of GM parts and styling, but to customers, it was the most affordable personal luxury car in America at the time, and it sold well in the first 2 years of its life.
Monte Carlo, #1 in the personal luxury car field.
And since the Monte didn't have a lot of bespoke parts that were expensive to make, it made Chevy a lot of the money. Unfortunately for some fans, the SS was not here to stay. Chevy bigwigs thought the idea of a quick luxury car was a contradiction and axed the Monte Carlo SS in 1972. However, that contradiction did not stop them from making the Monte Carlo custom package, which was basically an SS without the badges. Speaking of badges, Chevy loves them. And they were so committed to making the Monte Carlo a luxury mainstay that they kept the number of Chevy badges on the car to a minimum.
Hey, Greg, what is that car over there? It looks like a Chevy, but nice.
I don't know, Jerry. I guess we'll never know. Anyway, we're late for our reservation at Applebee's. Whee! I'm gonna be frank. Throughout the rest of the 70s, the Monte Carlo wasn't that exciting. It was making GM money, sure, and it was getting some fancier touches along the way. Engineers fitted the MC with front seats that could swivel sideways to make getting in and out easier. I would love if seats swiveled back and forth to make it easier to get out. Gonna be cut to a super cut of me getting in and out of cars. Despite one of the coolest technologies ever in automotive history, the old gas crisis hit. And that wasn't Chevy's only problem. Japanese car makers were making life hard for Detroit. Japan's cars were reliable, economical, and most importantly, very affordable. The Monte Carlo was literally none of those things. So, they would have to make it smaller. The third gen Monte was produced from 1978 all the way to 1980. That's 12 whole years. 12 whole years.
12 whole years.
1978 all the way to 1980.
That's 12 whole years.
The flat grille was familiar to the Chevy faithful, but the rest of the car was downsized and reshaped into a sleeker form. It wasn't a bad car, but the Monte Carlo had yet to really reach its full potential. And this...
Is this where you talk about the part where the Monte Carlo reaches its full potential?
Am I really that predictable?
I mean, your content is entertaining, but let's be honest, you really do have a formula.
Well, if you've figured out that formula, feel free to submit to write for this show. Go to donutmedia.com and then there's a clicky spot where it says join the team. 1981, the Monte Carlo was leaner and meaner than ever before and still retained the signature personal luxury. There were a ton of choices when it came to engines. Buyers could choose from small V6s, Oldsmobile's 350 diesel, and even a turbocharged V6 from Buick. The variety was proof. Chevy wanted the Monte Carlo to be the luxury car for everyone. There was just one problem. That Ford Thunderbird. For the 1983 NASCAR season, Ford introduced a new Thunderbird stock car. It was a super sleek and aerodynamic design. Some people started calling it the Aerobird. The Aerobird would break 200 on an oval on the regular and even set a race lap record at Talladega that still stands today. Chevy responded by petitioning NASCAR to let them run a new nose on the Monte Carlo for the 1983 season, which NASCAR allowed. We got friends at NASCAR, shout out Matt Summers. But since it was stock car racing, that meant the Monte Carlo road car had to be produced with a new nose as well. And that wasn't all. Since the Monte Carlo was now an aerodynamic race car, it needed performance to match. Chevy dropped a 305 cubic inch V8 under the hood and brought back a long lost trim level. Super Sport. Yes! The Monte Carlo SS was back for the first time in 12 years and looked better than ever. The new SS was a huge hit with customers, outselling the more luxurious LS package and becoming the most popular Monte Carlo trim. It also didn't hurt that the Monte Carlo was kicking in NASCAR. That's what you call kicking NAS. The Monte Carlo was holding its own against the T-Bird, but holding its own wasn't good enough. As Monte Carlos screamed around the track, the dramatic drop of the rear window created a high pressure zone, which pulled backwards on the car. If they could make that angle smoother, the car would go faster. So that's what they did. Chevy engineers made a 3-piece rear window that significantly decreased the slope to 25 degrees. They called it the Aero Coupe. Chevy had to build 200 of these things for the public to meet homologation rules. So in 1986, that's what they did. But something weird happened. People really liked them. So in 1987, they didn't limit Aero Coupe production and ended up selling more than 6,000 of them that year.
But wait, what about your friend Dale?
Dale Earnhardt was a one-time Winston Cup champion. He spent the mid-80s behind the wheel of a Ford Aerobird, but switched to a Monte Carlo Aero Coupe for the 86 season. Good move, Dale. He took the blue and yellow Wrangler Jeans Monte all the way to the tippity top and earned his second championship that year. The next year, he followed it up with another championship. That makes 3, which was fitting because that's also his number. Dale's in-your-face driving style and nearly unquenchable need to win earned him the nickname the Intimidator. The intimidation factor was made official in 1988 when Dale got a new sponsor. His Monte Carlo went from the jovial blue and yellow to a new paint scheme that truly embodied his nickname. It was painted black. If that didn't make other drivers poo in their pants, nothing would. Earnhardt would win 4 more championships, bringing the total to 7. As the 80s came to an end, Dale had made the Monte Carlo a legend. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to justify the car's existence in the real world. Those Japanese cars the Monte Carlo had downsized to fight 10 years earlier were getting really, really, really good. So 1988 was the last model year for the Monte Carlo and would be replaced by the front-wheel drive Lumina. But this wasn't the end for the Monte Carlo. All right! By 1995, the Lumina's image was very, very, very boring. So to spice things up, Chevy renamed the 2-door Lumina the Monte Carlo.
Woo! We're back, baby!
But not really. The new Monte didn't really have anything to do with the old one. Oh man. Chevy did eventually introduce a new SS model in 2004 featuring a supercharged V6 making 240 horsepower. In an attempt to relive the glory days, Chevy also released a Dale Earnhardt Edition Monte Carlo, available in either black for senior or red for junior. The Earnhardt Edition had a bunch of other NASCAR-style touches, like either senior or junior's number plastered inside and some race-inspired gauges. Most importantly, the black one came with an Intimidator badge on the back. You could only buy one of those if you were truly, most definitely, doing it for Dale. Shouts to Cletus McFarland. What's up, man? I like you a lot. We should hang out. The Monte Carlo got its final refresh in 2006 with its most notable improvement under the hood. The Monte Carlo SS was once again powered by a V8, the first time in 18 years. That's right, a V8. Front-wheel drive car. I don't know. Yeah, they do it. Chevy announced that the Monte Carlo would be discontinued for 2007, citing low consumer interest, i.e. no one cared, and fears that the Monte might steal sales from the upcoming Camaro, which I don't really follow along with. I just want to give a quick shout to Helmets. I'm gonna have to bleep your name on the episode. This guy painted this really cool helmet for me, and he talked to me about it, and he let me design it with him. I'm very happy with it. So check out his Instagram and his website. I'll put the link in the description below.